Hey guys, good morning. Hey, I just had a question about some lower back pain while doing volume squats, like what we've been doing a lot of during our time in quarantine. So I just wanted to go through that really quick and maybe give you guys some ideas slash pointers on what might be causing that low back pain. So generally, it's not a low back pain like you've created some damage musculature, or not musculature, but to the joint, right? To the vertebrae, compression, or any of those sort of things to the spine itself. Generally, you're fatiguing those low muscles, your erectors or your QL muscles when you're generally it comes in like a partnership of movement. So one that I can think of specifically is dumbbell snatches and air squats. Anytime you have dumbbell snatches with air squats, or maybe dumbbell snatch with a wall ball, or combining movements like that can end in that low back pain. So let me give you an example of what might be causing there. Right, on a dumbbell snatch, for instance, if we don't keep our chest out in the bottom, in our back flat, we're gonna get some low lumbar rounding every time we come to the floor with that dumbbell. So looking like this, right? Every time we come down, we get into that kind of like lumbar rounding position where I've got rounding through my low back instead of keeping my back straight here and pulling up from there. I'm rounding and then I'm pulling up as I come up to extend into my dumbbell pull, right? If I keep my chest out and my back flat, then I'm driving through my legs as I pull up for my dumbbell snatch, right? So we've been doing a considerable amount of dumbbell snatches, right? So that repetitive movement of that low lumbar rounding could create some fatigue in your low back. And then you go from that dumbbell snatch right into, let's say, a high volume of air squatting. If you have what we call butt wink at the bottom of your squat, which basically means that as you squat down, your hips pivot underneath. So your hips will tuck, your butt will tuck underneath, and we call it butt wink. That creates low lumbar rounding and fatigues your lower back and your erectors. So what that looks like as you air squat, right, is when I squat down, I reach a point where my butt tucks under and I get that low lumbar rounding, right? So you can see how my low back is rounded there. If I just bring that up to where I reach that point here where my hip crease is below my knee crease, but I haven't gone to that full tuck, that's my stopping point in my air squat, right? So that can sometimes be difficult to think about when you're in a workout and you're doing something for time. So here's what I suggest. If you have something that you can set up that brings you to a point of parallel, even parallel is fine. I would rather you be parallel in your squat than creating butt wink and having to stop your workout, or you're in pain because you have that lower back fatigue. So a couple of things I'll suggest is if you have a box, I'm going to show you that one first. You can set that up to where you're only coming to that point of parallel with your thighs, and you're not getting into that butt wink position. So on your box, that's going to look like this. So as I squat down, I'm able to keep my back flat, and I'm touching that box and coming right back up. So I'm not putting the emphasis there on my low lumbar. Instead, I'm able to keep good positioning through my low spine as I sit into that squat. If you do not have a box, use a chair, right? A chair would be fine. Even an ottoman, if you have an ottoman at home, you could use that as well. You could use like a recycle bin. Generally, those are about the right height. You're just looking for a tactile cue to tell you to come back up. Okay, if you have a wall ball with some plates, you can set it up like I've done here. So on my plates, I have a 10 and a 15. and then I put my wall ball on top of that. You could also just use a 25-pound, but you'll just check your height, right? You wanna make sure that you're at least at parallel. If you could go a little below parallel, that's great. But we just don't want the butt wing to happen, okay? So on your plates and wall ball, it would look like this. Okay, but again, I'm still able to maintain that neutral spine. I'm not creating that low lumbar breakdown or curvature through my low lumbar, which is gonna fatigue those low lumbar muscles, your erectors, your QLs, even into your piriformis and your glute mins, okay? So try that out, let me know how it goes. Hopefully that's a helpful modification for your volume of air squats. Have a great day, guys.